Hi everyone. In this video I am going to explain you about active transport and plant water relation. Active transport. Transport and pumping of substances from low to high concentration, which means against concentration gradient by protein pumps is called active transport. This protein uses energy to carry substances across the cell membrane. Features of active transport. Active transport is an uphill transport, which is called active process, because energy expenditure takes place in this process. Driving force is ATP. Therefore, active transport can cause net transport of molecules from low concentrations to high concentration region. It is dependent on living system. Active transport depends on living system for protein pumps and ATP. The rate of transport reaches a maximum when all of the protein transporters being used called saturation. Active transport protein pumps are sensitive to inhibitors because these protein pumps are their protein pump side chains reacts with inhibitors and sensitive to transportation. It is very specific. Active transport is very specific because it allows cell to cell movement for selective substances. Comparison of different transport mechanisms. The very first property requires special membrane proteins. There is no requirement of special membrane proteins for simple diffusion, but facilitated diffusion requires special membrane proteins. Active transport also requires special membrane proteins. Selectivity. Simple diffusion does not show any selectivity. Facilitated diffusion is highly selective and active transport also highly selective. There is no saturation levels in simple diffusion, but facilitated diffusion shows saturation and active transport also shows saturation. Simple diffusion is downhill transport, not uphill transport. Facilitated diffusion also downhill transport, not uphill transport. But active transport is uphill transport because they uses energy while transportation. Simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion does not require ATP energy because these two are best examples for passive transport. Then hormonal control. Hormonal control not required for simple diffusion, but facilitated diffusion and active transport requires hormonal control. Effect of inhibitors. Simple diffusion not affected by inhibitors, but facilitated diffusion and active transport affected by inhibitors because this facilitated diffusion and active transport done through proteins in the membrane. When the inhibitor came, automatically the protein side chains of proteins reacts with them and inhibit this transportation process. Let's check this table properly for your better understanding. The very next topic is plant water relations. Water is essential for all physiological activities of the plant and plays a very important role in all living organisms. Water is a very good solvent and provide medium in which different molecules are dissolved and suspended. Some examples showing that how much water is important. A watermelon has 92% of water. Most herbaceous plants have 85 to 90% of water. They have about 10 to 15% of its fresh weight as dry matter, remaining 85 to 90% water only. Distribution of water within a plant varies because woody parts have relatively very little water while soft parts contains most of the water. A seed may appear dry but it still has water, otherwise it would not be alive and respiring. A mature corn plant absorbs almost 3 liters of water in a day, while a mustard plant absorbs water equals to its own weight in about 5 hours. Coming to membrane permeability, on the basis of permeability, membranes are of four types, such as permeable membrane, semi permeable membrane, selectively permeable membrane, and impermeable membrane. Permeable membrane. A membrane which allows transport of both solutes and solvents across it, called permeable membrane. Example, primary cell wall. Second one, semi-permeable membrane. This membrane allows transport of solvent but not solute across it. Example, animal urinary bladder, cellophane, copper ferrocyanide membrane, parchment paper, etc. Selective or differentially permeable membrane. This membrane allows transportation of some selected solutes along with the solvent. Example, cell membrane or plasma membrane, tonoplast, organellar membrane. Fourth one, impermeable membrane. This membrane neither allows solutes nor solvent, which means it does not allows both solute and solvent. Example, soberonized cell wall, cork, cutinized cell wall, epidermis, polythene glass, plastic, etc. Types of solutions. Solutions are broadly classified into three types. Number one, hypertonic solution. Number two, hypotonic solution. Number three, isotonic solution. Number one, hypertonic. If the external solution is more concentrated than that of cytoplasm of cell called hypertonic condition. If in case the external solution is more dilute than that of cytoplasm of the cell is called hypotonic condition. If the external solution balances the osmotic concentration of solution is called isotonic solution. Let's check this table for better understanding of hypertonic, hypotonic and isotonic types of solutions.